So welcome to the Compassionate Capitalist podcast show. And thank you for tuning back in, or if you're listening to us for the first time. The goal out of this podcast is to bring the best and the brightest from our community of entrepreneurs, investors, and key influencers that will help entrepreneurs be all they can be and be as successful as they need to be in order to have phenomenal financial success with their business, as well as to investors on understanding how businesses need to grow so that they can make money when they invest in those businesses. And one of the really important elements of a successful entrepreneur is knowing how to pitch. That's not only pitching for the for money, but when you're pitching for customers and when you get to be a highly successful organization and you're pitching for shareholders and stakeholders and your employees, when you're getting them to buy into your corporate community, all of that takes effective communication and knowing how to deliver the pitch that is right for that audience. And I have the killer pitch master herself, Precious L. Williams, on my show today. We say hello and wave a little bit.
Hey, everybody.
For those that are watching, see the wave there. And I want to introduce her to you so that you understand why I am as excited and how you're going to learn so much today. So Precious L. Williams, also affectionately known as the Killer Pitch Master, is a world-class master communicator who works with successful entrepreneurs and speakers and helps them take their professional pitching and speaking skills to the next level. Williams is a graduate of Spelman College and Rutgers School of Law with over 26 years of experience in creating unique speaking and public speaking techniques. As a 13-time National Business Elevator Pitch Champion, we're going to learn a little bit about that here in a few minutes. Williams has been on top television shows and publications for her pitching, branding, and professional speaking skills. She was featured on season 8 of ABC's Shark Tank, Forbes Magazine, CNN, ABC, MSNBC, Wall Street Journal, and the movie Leap, as well as several others around the world. Williams is also known for her innovative training programs and services to her clients and sales teams at Fortune 500 companies. These companies include Google, Microsoft, LinkedIn, NBC Universal. And in 2019 and 2020, Precious became the 2 times best-selling author of the #1 business book series, Bad Bitches with Power Pitches. There she's showing it for women entrepreneurs and speakers only, and has just released her 3rd book, Pitching for Profits, the Bad Bitches Playbook to Convert Conversation into Currency. And I think I read it's already #1. She's going to tell us about that here too.
Shots fired.
Welcome, the one and only full-figured Black beautiful diva who has taken the business world by storm, Precious L. Williams.
Hey. I'm so glad to be here, Queen.
Thank you so much. And I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that our worlds our journeys, our paths crossed over each other and we know each other now, and we're going to have this great conversation.
Definitely.
All right. So we've tell us a little bit. Okay, first thing I got to ask about, your background, right? Connect the dots. But the first thing, 13 elevator pitch wins. What is that? I didn't even know there were elevator pitch contests like that all over to win 13 of. So
there are so many around the nation, even around the world. So remember, I started pitching, 10 years ago. So I was winning competitions from 2011 to 2013. Imagine how elevator pitch competitions have grown since then. And so when I started, I literally had no money to start my business. I didn't have family and friends who can contribute, or they didn't believe in my first company, which was Curvy Girls Lingerie. And they were just like, you don't have a business degree, you didn't go to business school, you trained to become an attorney and you were great at that, just stay with that. But there was something in me that said, I wanted to start this company. It was called Curvy Girls Lingerie, the ultimate shopping experience for full-figure divas and plus size fashion. And when no one around me believed in that, I went to the New York Public Library. It's called sizzle, Science, Industry, Business, and Law at 34th and Madison. And I met a woman who said she won $50,000 in prize money for her business. So I listened to her pitch and I was like, Yeah, no crickets. You know, not knowing that soon my opportunity would take place. I went to a small business awards ceremony and the media sponsors were there. And it was so weird. I heard God say, you're gonna do this through media. That makes no sense when you're 327 pounds. I promise you, it makes no sense 10, 12 years ago. And so I walked up to the producers of the show Your Business with JJ Ramberg. I didn't know that they were the producers of that particular show, but I walked up to them and I pitched because I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to waste the opportunity. And when I did, they were so blown away by how I pitched that they invited me to be on the show. And then when I was on the show, it was called Your Business with JJ Ramberg, in 54 seconds, I walked away with a major investment. Mind you, people told me it would never work. But it's funny how when you change your language, you change the game. And when you bring your passion, your energy and intensity, and remember, I did the research. It wasn't like I just, stumbled in, I'm gonna say some good stuff and get it. No, I had to prove that I actually knew the ins and outs of my business. If I'm really gonna go forward with this, I had to prove that we could make money. How are we gonna make money? What laundry shoe stores did I go into? Why is this a sizable market? Is this just a few big girls, 327-pound women? When I said it was 40 million women size 14 or larger in the United States, just like me, and we all want pretty underwear, they're like, whoa, that's a big market. So why is nobody creating products for women that size? If it's a big market, why is nobody talking about it? And that's because I was supposed to bring it to the fore. And now when I look back, that's the part of being a visionary and a trailblazer. You're going to see things no one else is going to see.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take my rightful place in history because now it's not a big deal. You see companies today, like they were making it for, smaller women. Now they're expanding their line and calling it more inclusive. That word did not exist for real back in the day. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But because the word didn't exist, didn't mean that I didn't have value. Someone just has to bring it forth. And that's why I say, listen, I was the quarterback to carry it across the line and now everybody else can do it. And so that's actually the power of pitching too. So you can show people worlds they didn't even know existed.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, a lot that we want to cover in this, but I just have to know, because I mean, that is one of those areas. I know in Atlanta, they had started doing a pitch competition at the Fox for years ago, and then
Mhm.
it kind of tapered off. But it was, people don't teach elevator pitches. It's
They
one of
don't.
those things when I had in my coaching program, and I used to do a workshop that was about elevator pitches, and we would have a fast pitch competition at the end and stuff like that. And it's really people don't understand that it's an appetizer to start a conversation with people, right? They think it's like a timeline. It's just how can you squeeze into this timeline versus how do you get people to engage and want to get more information? So you got a golden nugget for the listeners out there because
I actually love the way you said that. You called it an appetizer. I call it a juicy morsel.
there you
It's
go.
something that you do to entice, to
Yeah.
get to that level, to the next meeting, to, closing the deal. When you think about pitching, you're thinking about a way to attract, bait, and close.
There
When
you
you think
go.
about going to your grandma's house or whoever cooks really well in your family, it's the holidays, they're going to go in. You go over their house, you're going to get some good victuals. You're going to get some good eats. You put everything on your plate. That's your business. Your whole business is that plate. When you take that first bite, think of that fork or that spoon or whatever you got, that's that juicy morsel to entice you to eat everything else on that plate. So that's what you think of a pitch. 30 seconds, 1 minute, 90 seconds, 2 minutes or longer. Think of it. What are the most important things you want them to know? Not everything.
Yeah.
Remember, it's important to know who you're pitching to and why. So that's why you have to know and study your audience, right?
Right.
And remember, there's always someone listening. I have sold my books in Whole Foods, not even meaning to, just because I was running my mouth with the cashier. But when you think of a pitch, everybody knows. You go to Google, who you are, what you do, who you serve, what's your secret sauce. I mean, we all know that. And you definitely want to have a call to action. What do you directly want them to do? And make it easy so they know what to do, right? But when you start taking it into the next level of pitching, and I think this is what you're getting at. People when they go to networking events, they'll say my name, this is what I do, and it sounds boring. You want to know why it sounds boring? Because don't nobody care about your name and they don't care about the name of your company. What they care about is, have you addressed their challenge or pain points? Like,
Right.
can you adequately address it? I'm not asking for you to give a solution initially. What I'm asking for you is to educate and to illustrate that you understand what I truly struggle with, what keeps me up at night. Then can you offer a solution? Right? A lot of us go into pitching like, we do this, we're the technicians, we can get it all together. But if a person doesn't even recognize that they have a problem, that means you haven't connected the dots.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when it comes to pitching, right? I just thought everybody would love pitching. And then I realized the reason why most people don't know how much they can do with pitching is because they think it's just for investors or just to get into the media or just to say at networking events. If you're not a business, you don't need it. Well, if you're a speaker, you need it because you want to become book busy and paid. And if you are going for an interview for the job of your dreams, you need to have many pitches seated throughout that entire interview. So they know you can do the job, but can you fit the culture? What are you going to say? What are the clues that you're going to give out off? So pitching is an everyday thing that you do. And when you add strategy, precision, and cunning, knowing and studying your audience and adding other flavors to it, you smoke the competition. And that's why they call me the killer pitch
Yeah.
master. Because I help you slay all competition. It's a done deal when you hit that stage. It's a done deal when you're at a networking event. It's a done deal when you're anywhere you are in the world. It's a done deal. You know what they're looking for. You know what they need, and you have the right solution to handle it.
Yeah. 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 All right there. So, okay, is there a difference between how you would speak to or present to, whether it's the investors or your customers or your stake? Is there a difference in your style and how you would do that?
I definitely believe that different audiences require different things. So what I would say to the media is going to be very different from what I say to investors. When you think about investors, there's that financial thing. So you want to make sure that you have facts, figures, and statistics enveloped in your story of what it is that you're trying to get to them. You want to make sure that they understand it's a sizable problem that you're solving. There are enough people to buy, whether it's companies, corporations, individuals, there's enough people to buy, but you also want to make sure that you're the right jockey for that horse.
Right.
Right? You want to make sure. With media, what does media usually focus on? Something that's a little different, something that stands out, right? And so a
Yeah,
lot of
a draw or something like
yeah,
that.
they
Something
look
that's going to
for,
be.
so what's your engaging hook, right? And so why do you think when you read my bio, it said, have you ever met a full-figured diva who has taken the business world by storm and won big? You're like, who is this chick?
Yeah, right.
They've never even heard those words strung together like that, right? They have never heard it. So they're like, oh, the question alone is like, that's intriguing. And then they see that, when they finally read the rest of it, they're like, oh my God. And she's Black on both sides. And she's like going in like this. We To the investor, what I look like may not be the biggest deal. It may be, listen, return on investment. How fast can we do this? So that's a totally different thing. Media is always looking for what's new, what's hot, what's fresh, and what trending topics go along with that. Can you speak to that timely and relevant, like right now, right? When you're going to the interviews, when you think about, interviewing for the perfect job or the job you think is going to be perfect, what can you add in about your background that shows them that not only do you fit the culture and the community and that you can do the job, but there's something else about you that they don't have, that they absolutely need, right?
Right.
If you're a speaker, a lot of speakers speak on, motivation, inspiration, transformation, or whatever. And I will let Les Brown, Tony Robbins, all of them, you take that. But as a killer pitch master, I'm here to help you create your own lane as a speaker so that when they're doing a Google search, you pop up because you are so known for what you do. You're not competing with Les Brown and Tony Robbins and them. I'm the killer pitch master. When they look for elevator pitches, I pop up. And I know
Oh,
they're probably
sure.
shocked, like, "Ooh, and she's a chubby girl wonder, the female MacGyver of business." Okay, you see how all of those are different. So different audiences require different things. And if you hear part of my pitch that I did for Shark Tank, is totally different from what I do for networking events, because I'm expecting a different crowd and a different reaction to what it is that I say.
Yeah. So one of the things that I hear from entrepreneurs, and and I've done on my Compassionate Capitalist coffee breaks, done some videos addressing this, and also within like elevator pitches, it's always amazing to me. Entrepreneurs will say something like, well, it's some complaint about the pitching investor process, or getting the attention or the meetings with investors, or even when I used to run the angel investor events for a network of business angels and investors, my angel group. People might come up, and I would try really hard to get them to take the coaching ahead of time so they could deliver a good pitch. And then I remember one time, this guy, he just like, oh, I totally know how to do all this. I can do all of, I'm a great pitch person. Right. And he had a big Fortune 500 customer that was his customer. So he stepped away from his presentation and started talking on the side, and just like and telling a story almost, and not covering any of his charts or the word, whatever. And he ran out of time. And then at the end, he didn't get the kind of feedback and stuff like that. So what was his thing? And other entrepreneurs will do this. They blame the event instead of, oh, well, there just weren't any investors there, right? And it's like, no, I always say, if you were you had a software product for hospitals be an administration, and you had an audience of 50 hospital administrators, and you were talking about a product that was totally going to solve a problem, put more money to the bottom line, all that kind of stuff, and nobody was interested at the end, you wouldn't say, oh, there was no hospital administrators there. You would go, what did I do wrong, and reassess, right? So how do you suggest people, besides just being in the game and not getting results, is there a way for people, when they're preparing an elevator pitch or they're preparing a pitch, to figure out if they're on target, on message, before they blow their shot? Is there a way
Yes,
to sort of address
yes.
that?
Most definitely. First of all, when I started pitching back in the day, I would go into coffee shops. Now I realize we're in a COVID, whatever, but I used to go into coffee shops. So I, write my pitches out. I would go into the bathroom, and the first 10 to 20 times I did it, I would just read off the paper, because I needed to enroll it in me. I had to get it in. And then I would start to read and see what words set it on fire. Right. So that's how I started to learn. Like it was like repetition. I had to be able to say it and say it and say it. And then now it's time to kick it off now. It can't just sound monotone. I have to do some inflections. I have to change my cadence and stuff like that, right? Because no one can sit and listen to the same type sound. And then I decided I need disinterested parties to hear me. Not family, not friends. They're going to love everything you do, because what else are they going to do?
Exactly.
So go to disinterested people, or go to trusted business people and say, can I give you my pitch? Because I really want for real feedback. I really want you to kick my butt. I want you to ask me the type of questions that come to mind. And so I'm going to these coffee shops, especially 14th Street, Union Square. I was all over, from Auburn Park, all over. And I would pitch. Never once did somebody say, buy me coffee. No, they just enjoyed it. And they would give me real-time feedback. And I was like, ooh, I didn't think about that. Let me dial it back. Let me go back. And that would make me better. So I would always say, one of my English teachers in high school always used to say, practice perfectly, perform perfectly. But before you even get there, you still have to practice.
Sure.
So, if you can do it in front of a mirror, it could be a mirror in your living room. Just read it, envelop it, embrace it. Then start to change up your cadence. What are the things that you want them to focus on in your pitch? And you just said something that was so critical. If you know you got a time limit, honor that time. You have 30 seconds. You better stop at 24 seconds. Like, you need to give it, because you know what happens when we get welled up, we just, that 30 seconds, you're still talking, when at 45. And it's like, you're done. No one's paying attention anymore. And they shouldn't be, right? I don't care how great your pitch is. Honor the time that you're given, and you may be given more time, right? And so that's why I say, even in the end, you still have to make the big ass. When you go over time, that's you. That is not them. And you have to make time for other people who may be there pitching too. So honor the people's time in the room, and make it your business to practice your pitch. Keep a time limit on it. Make sure people keep you on time, because do you know how many pitch competitions I've been in? 14, and I won 13 times. beating Harvard, Yale, Stanford, Columbia grads, beating cool tech companies. And I had a lingerie company where people still like, I don't know how you did it. I do. I do. So when you think about it like that, honor the time, practice, practice, practice. Learn to set your pitch on fire. Start off with a bang and with fireworks. Give
Yeah.
it to them.
Yeah. Woo. All right. So let's talk about your books, right? So then you got three. They
I
build
have
upon
three
each
different books.
other. Yeah. So they build. Yeah. One of them's a workbook, or does that come along with the
Yes, the
book?
second
Tell
one is
us.
the book. So my first book is called Bad Bitches and Power Pitches for Women Entrepreneurs and Speakers Only. And people was just like, wow, that's a title. So 3 years before I even wrote the book, that was the title in my mind. And when I finally sat down to actually write the book, I didn't want to write it from the perspective of, let me just give you some formulas. I wanted to talk about the psychology behind pitching. And in my time of being a pitch master, there were seven types of personas that I would meet in pitching, from someone who's ruled by power, or someone who's unstoppable, someone who's ruled by numbers, someone who brings creativity, someone who brings mystery, someone who is so flawed and yet so fabulous. Like, think of all of those all together. One or two of those is going to dominate how you approach pitching, or how you approach presentations. And so each chapter is devoted to unstoppable, power, mystery, creativity, funny, numbers, all of those flawed, all of those. And so as you're reading through, I give you notable women that fit those, right? And then with my second book called Bad Bitches and Power Pitches, the workbook, that's when I start putting formulas in there for you. And you write, whether you're writing to whether you're pitching to the media, whether you're pitching to investors, whether you're pitching at networking events, whether you're pitching to go from a free speaker to a book, busy and paid, what you're going to say at interviews, what do you just say in general conversation, because people are listening. That's what's in the workbook. So I want you to read and see what you can do. And also I have a free quiz that walks you through that too, so you know who you are. So those are my first two books. And I love the way that I did it, because people are like, oh, I never looked at pitching like that. And I was like, yeah, because I stood in your shoes and did it. I didn't write a book from the perspective of just hearing pitches. I stood in your shoes. I was on Shark Tank and blew them away. Think about that. So I am not just someone who I can just tell you how to do it. I did it. And so now I'm giving you both perspectives. And then there's my third book.
Mm.
Bad Bitches and Power Bitches. And yes, men have bought it. Every company I've ever spoken at in the last 2 years has bought the books. And they didn't give me pushback. The government hasn't even given me pushback. They were like, well, that's an interesting title. And then they would, read the first few pages on Amazon. And they're like, whoa, now that's something I wasn't expecting, because it's not full of curse words. It's really a business book. It's been finalist for 4 different competitions, economic sales and business book of the year. So think about that. And Forbes Magazine reviewed Bad Bitches and Power Pitches and positively reviewed it in their magazine. And it's on the site too, under Pitching is Bitching.
Oh, so that's yeah. Well, okay. So that website, but you also are they all available on perfectpitchesbyprecious.com?
Yes, my website is www.perfectpitchesbyprecious.com. All 3 are available on my site.
Okay, very good. And then it links through, because they're also all available on Amazon and anywhere
They're
else if
all
you want.
available on Amazon too. Yes. If you
Yeah.
want hand signed copies, I suggest you go to my website, because Amazon ain't gonna get nah.
Yeah.
If you want to get them hand signed by me, please come to my website. And I still love sending them off. I still do.
Oh, sure.
I'll be at a post office 2, 3, 4 hours, but you know how we do.
Yeah. So what's different about the new one? Because it's about for currency, so it's more sales pitches versus
Yes.
investor pitches, or
So,
what's the difference?
so the first 2 books are, just all about pitching in general. Pitching for profit isn't about the revenue, it's about the profit part. So all of us have a network, and we always hear this thing, your network is your net worth. We
Sure.
hear it. I don't think most people understand that. So for me, when I was coming up as an entrepreneur, I was usually around people who were at my level, right? And that's cute, because I started becoming the bright light. That's not where you need to be. You need to be at places where you are being pushed and challenged to go higher and higher. So when you change your network to it's full of people who are at a higher place than you are, they're going to see what you're doing and see how to keep pushing you, so you get into bigger and bigger networks. So this book is about, how do you monetize your network? How do you grow your network so that you're top of mind in your network's mind when opportunities are coming. For example, last year, I started getting nominated for bigger and bigger business awards and winning them. I started being asked to speak at events that you can't find on the internet because you got to be invited, right? I didn't even know those existed. But
Wow.
now that I do, it's because my network changed, and it's not full of people at my level. It was people who are higher and say, she's doing something different. Pluck her and bring her up, because now we're going to show her to a different level of people. It's not just the people that read this magazine and that magazine. It's people you didn't even know existed, that see what you're doing and see the value that you can bring to their place, so that you're not just down here anymore. You're not begging for opportunities. They're being given to you now. And so pitching for profit, monetizing your network, having VIPs and top professionals looking at your content and bringing you in. For example, with LinkedIn, I have a LinkedIn live show now, right? I didn't apply for that. They came to me because on the strength of, why is my engagements in the top 1% all the time? I don't pay for ads. I don't. So what is it about my content? I'm not telling people to buy my stuff all day. That's not it. It's something I'm teaching on pitching that they haven't seen before, right? And so why am I getting media attention and not paying for it? What is special about what it is that I do? And so I teach that to my clients, and now they're getting all of these great opportunities. And now with the third book, we're going to take regular conversations and convert them not into just money, but into true currency, which is relationships. If you have the right relationships, queen, the money's going to come regardless, because you're in the right spaces now.
Woo. All right. Well, I got mine's in the
Yeah,
mail on its
I know
way.
that
I'm
part about
ready.
it, but I don't know. Mhm,
Okay. So, when somebody, the term fake it till you make it, right?
mhm,
So, say somebody's dealing with this fear of their audience, maybe because they don't share the same size, or they're the same racial profile, or a lot of times in the in investment world, I would find myself as the only woman in the room.
mhm.
So, is there a sort of like a an exercise or a way that you help your clients, because I know you deal with executives and things like that, to break away from the mental binds that they have, because there is no reason for them to actually have those limiting thoughts. So how do you help people get rid of those limiting thoughts so they can be the best they can be when they pitch?
I love that you brought that up. One of the things that I teach my clients, or even when I'm leading one-offs at companies, corporations, nonprofits, and stuff, is number one, your perceived flaws. Notice I said perceived flaws are really your secret weapon. What do I mean by that? I'm
Mm.
42 years old. I'm still Black on both sides. My hair is natural, it's not straight. Last time I checked, I haven't had six-pack abs since, girl, but let's not even go there, okay? So every day of my life, this society has told me that I don't measure up. I don't have an Ivy League degree. I like all the isms, the ageism, the racism, the classism, the sexism, LGBTQ, all these perceived things, because they're not real flaws. They're not. But you've been made to feel that way. So I want you to look at them from the perspective of, you're now Wonder Woman. You're now He-Man. Because we spent all our lives studying people who generally don't look like us.
Yeah.
We know how they move. Do they know how you move? No.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
That's why it's your secret weapon. Whenever I stood on stage, ooh, she gonna talk about cupcakes, bakery, baked goods. No, I'm talking about putting a Hollywood actor 327 pounds. Riddle me that, with sexy lingerie, red hot, sexy and stylish, and stuff like that. They weren't ready. But because I'm so used to always being counted out, now this is where fun begins. And so it's my secret weapon. It's your secret weapon. It's everyone's secret weapon, because they never see you coming. And since they don't see you coming, they don't know how you move. You've studied them for so long, they don't know how to study you until it's too late. And that's why, even when I went on Shark Tank, and Robert Herjavec said, watching you is like watching a master at their craft. I want to be like, can we cut? Cut. He's at the
Yeah.
table like, I was wearing a low cut canary yellow peplum dress, an afro, and extreme makeup. Please believe I was tailor made for television. And so I want you all to know that In each and every one of our lives, we've been told we weren't good enough. It's time to start believing the God in you who created you, whoever you believe in, the universe, whatever, you were created with a specific purpose. He don't need no co-signers. That vision doesn't need a co-sign. If no one in the world, let's even take it to the people everybody always looks up to, the Elon Musk, the Mark Zuckerberg, the Sheryl Sandberg, the Sarah Bakley, the Bill Gates, the Steve Jobs. They were all told no at some point. I promise you. They were all
Yes.
told they whacked, they're too ahead of their time. Why do we know their names today? Because they refuse to believe in that. You can choose to believe average, random, and ordinary people who've never done it and are scared to do it, or you can be the one that does it and looks back and says, yeah, the one you, it's only impossible until it's done. And last time I checked, I'm possible. So it's about to get done.
Yeah.
And I know
Wow.
it's a process. Think about it. It's a process. I'm not saying it happens overnight, but every time I stood on that stage, I knew what internally people, that what people were saying, whether they were in the audience, whether they were the investors, whether they were media, this is never going to work. And yet I did it. In fact, something that you didn't know, tonight on Shark Tank, my latest client, season 12, she's showing tonight. Do you know what that does for me?
Wow.
Always being told I wasn't good enough, couldn't speak well enough, need to lose the accent, need to lose weight, need to do this. Maybe I've been on television shows around the world. I film movies, documentaries. I'm from the inner city of St. Louis, Missouri. I'm not supposed to be here, but I am supposed to be here because the vision was put in me at 5 years old. So I'm not talking about your socioeconomic, your racial background. How I'm 42. I'm supposed to be old and put out the pasture if I believe it. Can we talk about the 40-year plus glow up, the 50-year plus glow up, the 60-year plus glow up? Trust and believe. So let's take everything that's supposed to be wrong with us and push it forward. We're living in a world now, if you start noticing in media that real people are starting to show more as influencers, why is that? Because it's changing. So believe in that and keep moving.
Yeah. Well, okay, we'll end on that note. No.
Okay, we done.
Mic
We
drop.
done. Mhm.
All
And as a
right.
woman, as a professional woman like you know, like you're hearing me now. Like, I don't know if this is what you were expecting, but this is how I bring it.
Yeah.
And I love being here with you.
Well, when you're, I think also, thank you. And I think also when you know your stuff and you're enthusiastic about it and you're passionate about it, and then you own it, you own the vision and what you're going to do. You be prepared, right? And then whatever's on the outside doesn't really matter because that power and that passion is what they see, right? You
Mhm.
know, and if you happen to package it in something that they're not expecting, then it's sort of like the cherry on top because wow, that's, and so I think what you said is exactly right. Own all of what you are so that you can have that power, wow, impact and make a statement. And that's, part of the thing when you get back to kind of to the elevator pitch is that you have to be memorable, particularly when they're standing up there with, 20 some odd, and it's like, and they're fast, right? So if you're
Mhm.
not memorable, then people won't come up to you afterwards. They won't, whatever. They forgot. And part of the whole, like when it comes to investors and raising money for investors, you got to create a buzz. And the way you create a buzz is to be memorable in a good way and to have people when they leave out of that, they say, did you hear that? So even if they don't get a chance to talk to you at the end, because, depending on the format of it or how big it is, they can't find you, whatever, they'll remember you and have a desire to follow up. Or when they're out and about talking to other people, other investors or other business people, they'll say, I saw this person, this entrepreneur, and this is what they were doing. And they can articulate what you're doing themselves, so you were clear and impactful and memorable, then you have amplified your message in a strong way. And so owning that, I think, flipping that perception of weakness to strength is such a powerful recommendation, and really, quite frankly, probably they'll gotta have it kind of a thing, right? So,
Most
um,
definitely.
so now, one of the things is that people the process of changing your communication style or whatever that might be with compared to your audience. So obviously when startups are doing startup stuff and it's always vision, 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 and then you move into actually running the company, and at some point maybe getting ready to go public, or raising the big money from hedge private equity funds or investment bankers, or even just all that. So how does an entrepreneur retain their
Mhm.
passion and their fire, but but when they're now having to talk actual results, or have a different intention of that? Is there any golden nugget that you can offer up to folks on how to make that transition in their delivery and content?
Well, definitely. And you definitely just drop those buzzwords to go from vision to actual real results. To actually go from, yeah, we had this great idea, we just need a couple of dollars to get there, to this is what we've done, and this is where we can go with an investment from you. Here we're taking care of all of this, and the other. We just need the financial resource to be able to do that, right? And so that's one of the things that I started noticing, even in the world, you'll start to notice this. The people who had the pie in the spot, the pie in the sky idea. Ooh, sounds so wonderful, until no one can execute on it.
Right.
Then you have the people who come in. That's why I always tell people I'm a 13-time national elevator pitch champion, 2-time number one best-selling author. Like, I throw out numbers as fast as facts, figures, and statistics, because people are listening for that now. If I was a killer pitch master and I've won 13 competitions, last one being 2013, I ain't done much with my life. But since I can show you now, I have a client right now tonight. Her Shark Tank episode airs. That tells you something, that even from way back when, I'm still doing it. That clients are signing 2-year corporate training contracts, that they're getting, media noise and buzz, that they're getting, paid speaking gigs for some of the biggest companies or nonprofits or foundations in the world. That's totally different, because when you have real results, people respect that so much more. The reason why I'm more passionate about what I do now versus when we were just trying to get it together, is because the vision truly became a reality, and it's
Yes.
scalable, sustainable, and cannot add profitable. We did it. We did what they said we could not do. And we did it with very few resources. Imagine what could happen when you add where them dollars at.
Yeah.
Imagine, look what we did without all of that. What can we do with more financial resources? What can we do with the right mentoring? What could we do with the right advisory board? Do I need to take a step back so someone more learning can come in? What do we need to do? But we've already proved that it's done. And so now there's no question about that. Maybe changing a leadership could understand that, but we've done the hard work now. Help us go higher. That return on investment, it's a done deal now. We've proven it. And that's why I have so much more of a passion for people who started from nothing, even if they got like 5 customers. How many businesses right now, people talking about starting, they've been talking for 10 years, ain't got one customer, money trying to give to it. It sounds really good. I was even looking at something before we even started. Remember, and I shouldn't probably bring it up, but Theranos, like, great idea that never executed. There's so many people who execute all day and they're afraid to pitch because they think they have to have millions of dollars.
Yeah.
You got 5, 10, 12, 20 clients in a time where it's a pandemic and economic downturn and social unrest. You better get your butt out there and get the pitching.
Well, I think now that is a good point to end on. Well, I don't even sure there's anything else you could add to top that. So I want to tell everybody, please, please share this podcast or video, whatever, however you're receiving this information. Go share it out there, because I think you probably enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed it. And you need to, share it with somebody else so you can spread the joy. And please go to perfectpitchesbyprecious.com to learn more about what Precious got going on, and get her books, she's got a little coaching program that she offers up with when you
Yes, I do
buy the
one-on-one
latest one.
coaching. Yes, I do corporate training, yes. And I also
Yes.
have online and digital products that they can learn at their own pace.
Yeah. So, and then also please be so kind as to stop by KarenRands.co if you've not been over there and see what all the stuff we do for entrepreneurs and investors. And with that, Precious, thank you so very much for being on the show today. Onwards and upwards.
Thank you so much, my queen, for having me. It's been an honor.